So welcome to Complete Python series. In this lecture, we study one of the most important chapter, function and recursion. So let's get started. So function. A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Function runs when it is called. We cannot run function without calling. So a function can return data as a result. A function helps avoiding code repetition. Function cannot avoid the code of repetition. So in Python, a function is defined using the def keyboard. We use function. We can write a function using def keyboard followed by a function name and parentheses, and we use function name and at last we use parentheses. Example like this. So I will take one example to how to create a function. So to create function we use def my function, which is function name, and parenthesis, and here we print, like I want to print hello function. I want to print hello function. So this is how we create a function in Python. So def my function, I don't know, print hello function. So this is how function is created. And the code inside the function must be intended. The code inside the function must be intended Python uses identification to define code blocks. Now we study calling a function. So how to call a function? To call a function, write its name followed by parentheses. We use function name and along with parentheses. So let's call a function too. Like in here we do not call a function, so it can't print hello function. When we call a function, then it print hello, because a function cannot run without calling. So I will call this function. So to call this function, I use my function name, my function, then parenthesis. This is how function is called. Let's execute this code. Now you can see it's print hello function. Before it doesn't print hello function because it is not called. When it is called, then it print hello function. So this is how function is called. Then we can use this function multiple times. Like if I want to call a function multiple times, like if I want to call this function, like this function again one time, so it is totally valid. Let's execute. So you can see it prints 3 hello function. So it is totally valid. We can call function multiple times. So function now function names. Function names follow the same rules as variable name in Python. Like a function must start with a letter or underscore. A function name can only contain letters, numbers and underscores. Function names are case sensitive. My function and my function, like uppercase and lowercase, are different in function. So like I will take one example of valid function. In valid function, so calculate sum. Private function, and my function 2. So this is the valid function names. Like we use underscore is first, so this is the valid function. So now why we use function? Imagine you need to convert temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius. several times in your program. Without function you would have to write the same code, same calculation code repeatedly again and again. But without functions it gives repetitive code, like here temperature 177. It without function it is difficult, it makes us repetitive difficult. So using function it makes easy. Like I take one example is temperature 1 equals to 77, Celsius 1 equals to temp 1 minus 32 into 5/9, and I want to print Celsius. The repetitive code is like this. Let's execute. So like this. With function you write the code once and reuse it. So with function reusable code is, we write with function reusable code is like this. I write one example. Like if we want to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, we use def Fahrenheit to Celsius, and Fahrenheit semicolon. Then I write return Fahrenheit minus 32 into 5 divided by 9, like this. I want to print Fahrenheit to Celsius 77. I'll copy this and paste. Now I change Fahrenheit to 95, and here I use Fahrenheit to Celsius 50. Let's execute this code. So output is 25, 35 and 10. So that's how we change Fahrenheit to Celsius. Now we return values. Function can send back to the code that call them using the return statement. when a function reaches a return statement. It stops executing and sends the result back. Like example, I will explain with example. So def get greeting and return hello function. And my message equals to get greeting, there is parenthesis, then I print my message. So that's how return a value work. So it prints hello function. So this is how return value work. So we can use the return value directly like this, like when we print directly here, print get greeting and parenthesis, it prints directly. So we use return value directly also like this. So then now if a function does not have a return value, then it returns a none by default. So this is how return value work. Now we study pass statement. Function definition cannot be empty. If you need to create a function placeholder without any code, use the pass statement. Function definition never be empty. So if we want to create a function placeholder, we use the without any code, we use the pass statement. I will show you one example so that you can understand easily. So let's take one example of pass statement. So def, I will get function name is my function, I use parenthesis, semicolon. Then if I pass, so the pass statement is often used when developing, allowing you to define the structure first and implement details later. So this is how pass statement work. Now we move to function arguments. Arguments it's basically information can be passed into function. Arguments are specific after the function name inside the parenthesis. You can add as many arguments as you want, just separate them with a comma. The following example has a function with one argument, so I will take one example so that you can understand easily. So I will create one function. will take function def my function f name, which is function name, then print f name plus then this is how we pass arguments in function. Now I print my function, sorry, I will call my function. So my function I will call Emil is first, then I call my function Tobias, and then my function Linus. So run this code. So it prints me email plus this name, then Tobias plus this name, then Linus plus this name. So we pass here arguments. So this is how we pass arguments in function. So what is the difference between parameters and arguments? So let's discuss about parameters versus arguments. The terms parameter and arguments can be used for the same thing, information that are passed into a function. So both are used in information that are passed into a function. So from a function perspective, a parameter is the variable listed inside the parenthesis in the function definition, and an argument is the actual value that is sent to the function when it is called. So basically a parameter is the variable which listed inside the parenthesis in a function definition, and argument is the actual value that is sent to the function only when it is called. So I will take example. So like this, def function name is my function, here function name, here name is a parameter, here name is a parameter, here name is a parameter, and I want to print hello, and I want to print hello and of name, and I will call the function my function. I will call function name Emil. So here Emil is an argument, Emil is an argument. Let's execute this code. Syntax error. or remove this comment. I think sorry here I forgot to use column, that's why it gives me error. Now let's execute this code. So you can see it prints me hello Emil. So now move to number of arguments. So by default a function must be called with the correct number of arguments. If your function expects 2 arguments, you must call it with exactly 2 arguments. So I will take one example of number of arguments so that you can understand easily. Emil, then sorry, and so this function accepts 2 arguments and gets 2 arguments. Let's execute this code. So like this, it's when it is called, it prints Emil and then references. So if we try to call the function with the wrong number of arguments, we will get an error. So this is the important which we remember. So if we remove this, then we print, then this function accepts 2 arguments but gets only 1. And we print I don't know why it's showing me error. But this is how we use. So now move to next. Default parameter values. So we can assign default values to parameters. If the function is called without an argument, it uses the default value. It means, so I will take one example of default parameter values. So like I will create my function the name equals to friend and I want to print hello name, and I want to call this function my function as meal. So I will copy this and paste. So I will change here Emil to T Linus. To base, then here I print nothing. So let's execute this code. So it prints hello Emil, hello Tobias, hello friend, hello Linus. So so now I take example of default value for country parameter. So def keyword, then function name is my function, then I will parenthesis country equals to India. Take country as India. And I want to print I am from then country. So let's call this function my function, like I will Sweden, I will type on Sweden, then we'll copy this, I will change Sweden into India. Sorry, India is already, so I will Nepal. So I will change into Brazil. Let's execute this code. So it prints me I am from Sweden, I am from Nepal, then I am from India, because here we already passed the parameter. So when it is called, it prints me I am from India, it prints I am from India, and at last I am from Brazil. So let's move to the next. So now you study now we learn about keyword arguments. So we can send arguments with the key value equal to value syntax. So I will take one example so that you can learn, you can understand. So I will remove this first, and then I will take one example of keywords. So like def function name is my function, then I pass two parameter, one is animal and name, and I want to print I have a animal print my animal plus name each and here name, and I will call this function my function animal, which is I will take animal as dog, then name equals to boogie. I will take name as boogie, so this way with, so I will first run execute this code. So it prints I have a dog and my dog name is Boogie. So this way, with keyboard arguments, the order of the argument does not matter. Like example, name equals to buddy, animal equals to dog. So this way, with keyword arguments, the order of the arguments does not matter, like this. So the phrase keyword arguments is often shortened to quirks in Python documentation. So we study later about quirks. Now we move to next. Our next is positional arguments. So positional arguments is like when we call a function with arguments without using keyword, they are called positional arguments. So I will take one example of positional arguments. Def my function animal name, then with parent semicolon. I have to print I have a animal print my animal plus name each name. Now I will call my function. I will take arguments is dog and another is Boogie. So let's execute this code. So positional arguments must be in correct order. So the order matter with positional arguments. I have a dog and its name is Boogie. So if we switching, the order changes the result. So like example, how it changed the result when we switch the order. So when we change the order, let's see. If we here Boogie and here dog. So it prints like at first Boogie and its name is dog. So switching the order changes the result. Now we move to next. Mixing positional and keyword arguments. We can mix positional and keyword arguments in a function call. However, positional arguments must come before keyword arguments. So I will take example. Age I passed parameter, then I print I have a age year old, then animal, named, name. So I will call my function, then I pass arguments, this time I will keep dog name is Buddy, then age is equals to 5. Now I print. So I have a 5 years old dog which name is Buddy. It's print like this. So we can send any data type age in argument to a function in string, number, list, dictionary, etc. So the data type will be preserved inside the function. How? I will show you. Like def my function fruits so for fruit in fruits column, and I want to print fruit and I call my fruits and I will pass arguments under list like apple, cherry and my function my fruits. So now let's execute. So it prints apple, banana and cherry. So how we sending a list as an argument. So if we want to dictionary, if we want to sending a dictionary as an argument, we use here curly braces, and here I will change fruits into person, and dictionary is written in key value pair. So here we use key value. So I want to print like this: print name h key, then person name, print age, person age, I will call my function and I will give here name, Emil, then age, $25, then I print my person. So this is how we sending a dictionary as an argument. Let's execute this code. Sorry, I write. So here it prints me key in key value pair as in dictionary. So we study return value. So function can return value using the return statement like this. So how it return statement, I will show you how function return statement using. So I will write here def my function I'll pass two parameters x and y. Then I want to return its sum. Now I call the function 5 and 3. Now I want to print. This is how we return our values from return statement. Now it return its sum like 8. 5 plus 3 equals to 8. So returning different data type, function can return any data type including list, tuple, dictionary and more. So how a function return value as a list, I will take example. And I want to return as a list, so here I will make one list of fruits: apple, banana, cherry. So here I use fruits. So I want to print my fruits 0. I will copy this. Here to here index 1. Sorry, 1. Now let's execute. So it prints index 0 is apple, and in index 1 there is banana, and in index 2 there is cherry. So this is how a function that returns a list. So I take one of the example of function return a tuple. I want to return in tuple, so I will pass two arguments. So I will return 10 and 20. I want to print x, then print y, let's execute. So in x it prints 10 and in y it prints 20. This is how a function that returns a tuple. So now we move to Python, args and quarks. So by default a function must be called with the correct number of arguments. However, sometimes you may not know how many arguments that will be passed into your function. So args and quarks allow function to accept an unknown number of arguments. So at first we start arbitrary arguments, which is args. So if So I will take one example of arcs. Def, I will create my function asterisk kids. I want to print the youngest child is kids 2 my function so this is the example of quarks. We use quarks like this. So let's execute. So arbitrary arguments are often shortened to args in Python documentation. So the args parameter allows a function to accept any number of position arguments, and inside the function args become a tuple containing all past arguments. Like I will take one practical example of args. So I will take one practical example using args so you can understand easily. Def, I will create my function, its function name, my function. I will pass my args. I will initialize total with 0. Then I will include a loop for num in numbers. Total equals to total plus num. Then I want to return my total. Then print my function one, 2 and 3. I'll copy this, paste here. I would use here 10, 20, 20 and 30, 40, 5. So it like 3 2 1 3 plus 2 plus 1, it gives 6, and 40 plus 30 plus 20 plus 10 equals to 100, and it prints my function is 5. So this is how we use args. So now we move to quarks. So the quarks parameter allows a function to accept any number of keyword arguments. Inside the function, quarks become a dictionary containing all the keyword arguments. So let's take one example so that you can understand easily. So I will using quarks to unpack a list to arguments. So I write code. My function a, b, c. I passed 3 parameters a, b and c, and I want to return sum a plus b plus c numbers equals to 1, 2, 3, and result equals to my function 2 and 3. Sorry, I want to pass my box numbers. This is same as my function. This is same as my function 1, 2 and 3. So don't be confused. Then I want to print my result. So let's execute. So it gives 3, 2, 1, 6, which is 6. Now we solve some question, some simple question, then we move to next topic. So our first, I want to solve simple question of average of 3 numbers. So how I calculate average of 3 numbers using function. So let's do this code. Def calculate average. The average of 3 numbers is equal to a plus b plus c upon 3 by 3. That's how we calculate average of 3 numbers. I hope you know how to calculate average of 3 numbers. Average a, b and c, then sum is equals to a plus b plus c, and average is equals to sum by 3, and I want to print my average. Then I call my function is calculate average of three numbers 1, 2 and 3. So let's execute this code. Did you mean calc average? Sorry. So the average of three numbers A, B, C is 2.0. Again we will see the average of 10, 20 and 30. Let's see the average of this three numbers is 20. So I hope you understand. So move to next. So now we do a question related. Write a program to print the length of a list. Let's solve this question by using function. So at first I will write my cities. In a list, like I will take cities named Delhi. One is Delhi, another one is Gurgaon, another one is Gurgaon, another one is Ludhiana, and I will take Noida, I will take Pune. So these are my cities, and I will take heroes. Like for Iron Man, and one Captain America. So like this. Now I use function def print length of list print len list print len of cities and print len of heroes. So let's execute. So len of cities is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and len of heroes is 1, 2 and 3. So this is how we calculate len of list. So now move to scope, Python scope. So a variable is only available from inside the region it is created, which is called a scope. So at first we study local scope, then we move to variable scope. Then we move to global scope. A local scope is like a variable created inside a function, belongs to the local scope of that function and can only be used inside that function. So I will take one example of local scope. So I will take one example. I will create def my function or parenthesis semicolon, then x equals to 300. I want to print x, then I will call my function. So a variable created inside a function is available inside that function. So let's execute. So it prints me 300. So now move to global function, global scope. Global scope, a variable created in the main body of the Python code, is a global variable and belongs to the global scope. So global variables are available from within any scope, global and local. So I will take one example of global scope. So our x equals to 300, def my function, I want to print x. Now I call my function. Then print x. So let's execute. So a variable created outside of a function is global and can be used by anyone. Now execute. So you can see it prints 300 when call, and it when I use print x, this also print 300. So this is how we cover our local and global scope. Now we move to recursion. Recursion is when a function calls itself. So recursion is a common mathematical and programming concept. So which means that a function calls itself. So I will take one simple recursive function that counts down from 5. So I use def countdown n, and if my n is less or equal to 0, print done or in else I use print n countdown n minus 1. Then I want to call my countdown. 5, I will use 5. So let's execute. Sorry. Now let's execute. So it will count from 1 to 5 and it prints by default done. So recursion, so let's know about base case and recursive case. Every recursive function must have two parts. A base case. Base case means a condition that stops the recursion. In this there is a base case. This is the base case. So a recursive case, the function calling itself with a modified argument. So without a base case, the function would call itself forever, causing a stack overflow error. So base case is necessary for stopping recursive function. So I will take one example of identifying base case and recursive case. So I use def factorial of n and if n is equals to 0 or n is equals to 1. This is the base case. This is my base case. This is my base case. So I want to return 1. So I want to return 1. Return 1 is a recursive case. So and in else I want to return n into factorial of n minus 1. Last I want to print my factorial, print factorial of 5. So let's execute. So it prints factorial 120. Factorial of 5 is 120, so that it prints. So this is the base case and this is the recursive case. The base case is crucial. Always make sure that your recursive function has a condition will eventually be met. So let's do one question of recursion. So I will find the 7th number in the Fibonacci series using recursion. So I will take def Fibonacci of n, and if n is less or equal to 1, I want to return n. I want to return n. Otherwise, I want to return Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2, and I will print my Fibonacci and call it 7. So let's execute 13. So it works. It's execute 13. Now we move to generator. So generators are functions that can pause and resume their execution. So when a generator function is called, it returns a generator object which is an iterator. So the code inside the function is not executed yet, so it is only compiled. The function only executes when you iterate over the generator. So I will take one example of generator so that you can understand easily. So I will take one simple generator function. So I will create one simple generator function like def my generator then yield 1, yield 2, yield 3. I will use for loops here for value in my generator. I want to print my value. So this is the example of generator. Let's execute. So it prints 1 2 3, which is my generator. It prints my generator. So let's practice some question of recursion. Simple question. So I will print and to 1 backwards using recursion. So I will def so and then I will use one base case, which is n is equals to 0. This is our base case. Which is stopping condition, and I will return then I will print and then I will call so to n minus 1. So let's execute. sorry, I forgot to use column. So it's print so when I, because there is no print because I don't call my show. So when I call my show, like I will call my show it's 5. Now let's execute. Then it prints from 1 to 5. It's decrease one number like n minus 1. So now we solve another question. I will use another factorial question, def factorial of n, and I will use base case n equals to 0 or n equals to 1. Then I want to return 1. And in else I want to return n into factorial of n minus 1. So let's execute. So when I call my factorial, like print factorial, I want to calculate factorial of 6, which is 720. So it prints 720, and when I want to calculate my factorial is 9. So let's see. So it prints big number like 3,62,880. So move to next question. So question is like this: write a recursive function. Write a recursive function to calculate the sum of first n natural number. So let's do this question. I'll use def calculate sum of n, and if my n is equals to 0, then I want to return 0. Then return calc sum n minus 1 plus n, and I want to call my sum of 10, and I want to print my sum. So let's execute. it prints sum of 55. So move to next question. Like as a hint, I use list and index is a parameter. So we have to calculate a recursive function to print all the elements in the list. So let's do this question. I create function print list and list. I will initialize my index to 0 and if my index is equals to the length of list, then I return. I want to print my list index class. I will give my list as fruits mango, lychee, apple, banana, so I will print list of fruits. So let's execute. So it prints me the list of fruits like mango, lychee, apple and banana. So now I will solve this 6 question. So I will copy my first question. So our first question, we have to find the factorial of a number. So I will explain you step by step so you can understand easily. So at first, factorial means multiplying all numbers from 1 to n. So if like I will already explain you how to calculate factorial, so I hope you know how to calculate the factorial of a number. So I will create a function named factorial. So I will create a function named factorial, and I take number as parameter. So I'll start my factorial to 1, then for I in range 1 to n plus 1, then factorial equals to factorial multiply by I then I want to return my factorial. Norm equals to, I will take input from user is a number, enter a number, I want to print factorial equals to factorial of number. So let's execute. Sorry, here I forgot to input, so now let's execute. So I want to calculate factorial of 6, which is 720. I want to calculate factorial of 12, which is like this. If I want to calculate factorial of 4, so it will answer me 24. Factorial of 4 is 24, like 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. You can check also like this. So move to next question. I will copy this question. So in this question we have to calculate a number which is prime. We have to calculate the prime number. A prime number has only two factors, 1 and the number itself. So I will create a function def prime n, then I will check if n is less or equal to 1, then I return false. For I in range 2 to n if again modulo I is equal to 0, then I want to return false. Otherwise return true. I will take knowledge integer input. I will take input from user into a number. Then if prime of number prime number or in else I print not prime. So let's execute. So there is little bit indentation error. So if I use number 19, so I don't know why it gives me error, but this is the logic how we calculate number is prime or not. So now next to move to next question. So in this question we have to check whether a number is palindrome or not. A palindrome number means which reads the same forward and backward, like 1 to 1. When we read from forward it also 1 to 1, and when we read from backward it also 1 to 1. So let's calculate whether a number is palindrome or not. So I will create function of palindrome of n original equals to n reverse equals to 0 while n is greater than 0. digit equals to n modulo 10, which return the last digit, and rewards equals to rewards star 10 plus digit. I use n equals to n integer divide 10, and I want to return original equals to rewards take input from user, page number, integer, input, enter a number, and if palindrome of number, then I want to print palindrome, or in else it's print not a palindrome. So this is how we check a number is palindrome or not. So let's execute. So I have to calculate number of, it is palindrome, because when we read from forward it also 1 to 1, and when we read from backward it also 1 to 1, and I want to print number like 1 2 3, which is not a palindrome, so it prints me not palindrome. So move to next question. Question number 4. Write a function to calculate the sum of the digits. So let's solve this question. Def sum digits n. I'll create a function digits n and pass parameter n. I will initialize total to 0, and I will apply while loops while my n is greater than 0, then total equals to total plus n modulo 10 and n equals to n integer divide by 10, and I have to return my total. So I will take num as input from user, I will print my sum at last. Print sum equals to sum digits of numbers. So let's execute. So I will enter number of 2, sum equals to 2. So I will 54. So it will print me 5 plus 4 is equals to 9. So if I take number 10, 12 plus sorry I will take number is 2, it prints me 3. So like this. So this is the question of this. So now move to next question. So in next question we have to calculate the Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series, each number is the sum of the previous two numbers in Fibonacci series. So let's do this question. So I will create function is Fibonacci series, Fibonacci of n. I pass parameter n, then I will use a equals to 0, b equals to 1. First is 0 and second value 1. Then I will use for loops here. For I in range n, then print a then I will apply sum of previous of two numbers, a equals to b and b equals to c. This is the logic to find the Fibonacci series. And at last I will take norm as input from user. So enter terms. Then I will call my Fibonacci. So this is the code. So let's execute. I have to calculate Fibonacci series of 10. So it prints me the Fibonacci like 0 1, then 0 plus 1 is equals to 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8, 8 plus 13 21, so on like this. So I hope you understand. Now move to the last question. In last question we have to reverse a string using function. So let's do this question. So like I want to reverse a string. How I want to reverse a string? So reverse a string. After reversing a string, it looks like G N I R T and S. So like this. So I will write code to reverse a string. So def reverse string text, then return text, this is how we use, this is the logic to reverse a string. I will take string as input from user. Input enter string, and I want to print reverse string of s. So let's execute. So here is little bit indentation error. Now execute. I want to reverse my name. So after reversing, it was like this. I want to reverse Python. So like this. So this is how we reverse our string.